Hello, everybody. Live from Tampa, Florida. It's 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you for joining me on the Louis Centeno show. I have a very, very special show planned for you guys today. And we are in an exciting time right now. If you're a DCEU fan, which I'm a fan of, a lot of news coming out last couple of weeks, obvious, ever since Zack Snyder made his announcement official on May 20th that his Justice League, the cut that we all been fighting for 2.5 years, will be coming out next year in 2021 and on HBO Max. And ever since from that point forward, um, we've been hearing news. Obviously, we know Henry Cavill will be coming back reprising his role as Superman. Now, to the extent of it, we don't know. If I had to take a guess, cameos and co-starring movies. The Man of Steel 2 or Superman or whatever you want to call it, the standalone Superman movie. The reason nothing has been said or no information has been come out because, quite simply put, there is no script written for it. That does not mean that we're not going to have a standalone Superman movie. But as of today, the reason there is no information, again, number one, there's no script for it. Number two, there is no um, assigned director attached to the project. But I cannot imagine, knowing Danny Garcia and knowing us fans, especially Superman fans, that we want another Superman movie. To me, there is no way that I don't think Danny Garcia didn't get what we want and what she wants for her client. So I know that's my take on it. As far as the Batman news, guys, is very exciting time. I've been clamoring on this since 2018 that Ben Affleck will consider coming back playing the role of Batman to finish Zack Snyder, and I all indications are that we're gonna get what we've been asking for, and that's a standalone Batman movie. Obvious HBO Max has to do well, the Snyder Cut has to do well, but to me that's a foregone conclusion because when I say it has to do well, I'm referring to financial, I'm referring to people watching it, subscribing to HBO Max, and even those people that don't like Zack Snyder, they're gonna want to watch it just to see what was the big fuss about it. Us fans, obviously, we're gonna watch it because we love Zack Snyder, and even casual fans is gonna want to watch it because now it has hit mainstream media right now to the point that the free marketing out there. I mean, it's out there. So obvious, since last year, on my first show, I discussed with Chris Wan as far as Cyborg appearing on the Flashpoint. It made sense. I've been speaking about this last year. So anyone that said they have an exclusive on that, well, if you've been following me, you've been watching me, follow me on Twitter and watching my show. I've been saying basically that was going to happen, and then this week we got confirmation that indeed that Cyborg um, um, will be appearing in Flashpoint. Obviously, we know about Wonder Woman 84. For those that say that it was logical, it was logical that the movie was going to get moved and all that stuff. Then if it was illogical, then why you didn't report it? Why you didn't put it on Twitter? It's easy to bash someone who goes on a limb in April and says that what I was hearing that it was going to be pushed back. And those same people said, we haven't heard anything from Warner Brothers. This is Lewis again making up the stuff. And then when it's pushed back, those same people say, oh, well, it was logical sense. It was quite logical. Well, it was quite logical. Then why you didn't talk about it? Why you didn't say it? I'm on Big Mouth. I see you, Big Mouth. I'm going to bring you guys on in a few minutes. Tyler, I'm going to bring you on a few minutes. But as custom, on my channel, I need to do a little rant, to call out my haters. So yeah, the same people, that clamor on me, that get on my case, is logical. Listen, if you didn't talk about it, then don't come and tell me that it's logical. Well, it was logical, then why did you stick your neck out? Why didn't you say that it was going to be moved? And here's the thing, guys, okay? I know October 2nd is the day that they're saying it's supposed to come out. Don't be surprised if it's moved on to next year. Don't be surprised. Now, why do I say that? Well, okay, well, let's use common sense here. Number one, if there is no vaccine for the COVID-19, you're going to have people who's going to still be literally going to the theaters to watch Wonder Woman 84. Now, Warner Brothers and Patty Jenkins have a lot invested in this movie. So I do not blame them if they want to hold off. I don't blame them. I don't blame them one bit whatsoever. Even if they tell us it's going to be released in October, all plans are. If they come and change it again, I do not blame them because they worked hard. They have a lot invested in this, and they want to do well financially. So from a business standpoint, don't be surprised if it's pushed to next year. Even if there's a vaccine, even if a vaccine comes, let's say in September or October, or even August, late August, it's still going to take about a good 6 months for the theaters industry, for the movie industry to recover. I mean, the movie industry has taken a massive blow. It has taken a massive blow. So logically, now if it's released October 7th, great. Obviously, us people who love the DCEU is going to support Patty Jenkins. We're going to support Gal Gadot. Obviously, Zack Snyder is a producer on Wonder Woman 84. So that news came out as well. And it's awesome. It feels like back in 2016, right before Batman versus Superman was released. So obviously I have two very special guests who's gonna be joining me. I'm gonna bring them on in just a second here. Zara, as always, showing me love and support. I greatly appreciate that. I'm just giving time for people, just to come in. But it's I'm so much looking forward, and oh my gosh, the 30-second, I don't know if you call it a short trailer or whatever, but the 30-second sneak peek that Zack Snyder released, that 30-second sneak peek is better than the whole Justice League that was put out. Think about that, guys. Think about that. That 30-second movie clip or short clip that Zack Snyder put out is a better. That 30 seconds is better than the 2 hours crap or the 2 hours whatever that the Justice League decide to put out. And oh my gosh, if you're Jeff Johns and he's watching this, he's watching that everything is coming together. Oh Lord, I wish I could put a donkey right there, right next to Jeff Johns, because dude, you're the reason why you don't have a job. You're the reason why a lot of people lost their job. You're the main reason. And next time it shows you, and I don't think you're gonna have a second chance, but just in case you do, next time it shows you to leave the directors alone, let them make their stuff. Nobody would have blamed you if you let Zack Snyder move or let Zack Snyder finish his vision and decide to move on. Nobody would have blamed you. So I'm so excited, guys. It's so awesome to be a DCU guy. So that being said, I'm gonna bring in right now. His name is Tyler, but he's known to us as Subject Review. Let me see. There he goes right here. His name is Subject Review. Now, man, he's a Philly fan. I'm a Met fan. So that right there alone is going to be a very interesting. He's a Philly fan. I'm a Met fan. I'm a Giant fan. I'm a Jet fan. I'm a New York fan. The only team I don't like in New York is the Yankees. So that's probably the only thing that he may agree with me. I can't stand the Yankees. Yeah. I cannot stand, man. Yankees. Every player in the Yankees gets injured. They bring in the AAA and they finish in last place. I mean, that's how much I cannot stand the New York Yankees. I can't stand them. So,
Lewis,
Tyler,
what's going on,
buddy?
buddy?
How you doing, buddy?
Good. I was just going to talk about your little baseball rant.
I'm doing okay, man.
It doesn't matter at this point because it doesn't look like we're going to have a season.
Yeah, man. You see, baseball got to be careful. Yeah. Baseball has to be careful that it don't turns off the fans, because what you have here is you have a bunch of pompous billionaires arguing with millionaires, and it's just it makes them look bad. I mean, seriously, where we live in the pandemic, regardless if you're in the left or you're in the right, what aisle are you on? The one thing that we could agree on is that both sides, Republicans and Democrats, though baseball looks bad. Yeah. The owners look bad. The commission looks bad. The player association looks bad. The baseball player, they all look bad. Yeah. They all look bad. I mean, a lot of people that lost their job, and you guys are fighting for really? Oh, okay, I don't want to get into that. And it looks like your Phillies are spreading the COVID-19, bro. What's going on with your Phillies, man?
I don't know. I didn't really. I heard about it. I heard about it, but I just didn't. I heard about it, but I didn't read an article or who it was or what was going on with the whole situation. But yeah, from what I hear, there's like 5 players that got it, and then a couple like trainers or something people that work for the organization. But from what I heard is they were working out in Florida together, so that's probably how they all got it. One of them had it, and they just gave it to the next person. But it's gonna happen, man. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, I'm in Florida too. I'm in Tampa, so oh Lord, that's going to be interesting. Also, I'm going to bring in with us his go by his name, Mr. Big Mouth. What's up, Big Mouth?
Hello.
You made it,
bro. How's it going? You right?
How's everybody doing?
Good.
Yeah, we're doing great. Yeah.
All right, guys. So. No, we're definitely not there yet. I'm just there. We go. I think that's perfect. I was just talking about the beginning, how awesome, how good it is to be a DCEU fan, man. It's just if you think prior to May 20th, and and also the day after Warner Brothers announced that Zack Snyder was stepping down, which he didn't step down. He was let go. For those that said that Zack Snyder was step down, they need their head examined, because Zack Snyder doesn't quit on anything. He's not a quitter. So I mean, I don't want to go back, rehash time, because right now we're definitely in some good times right now, but. From that point forward, when Warner Brothers decided, to go with Joss Whedon to finish the cut, and by the way, I'm one of the few that I don't necessarily blame Joss Whedon. He was just taking direction of what Jeff Johns wanted, what the studio wanted, and if Jeff Johns would have said no, they would have found somebody to do their bidding. So that's why I don't, a lot of people, they get on Joss Whedon. I don't. I put this the blame squarely on Tommy Emmerich and Jeff Johns. Those two are responsible why we went 2.5 years going through what we're going through. But going back from that day to May 20th, how much us fans, we put a voice, how much we fought for the Snyder Cut. So I'm going to go with you, Tyler. What was your initial reaction when you officially heard from Zack that it was going to be released on HBO Max?
Well, Lewis, I'm not going to lie. There was a lot of rumblings that week that was going on that it was going to be announced.
Yes, so obvious.
In the back of my head, I was thinking that maybe something's going to happen. I was like, 80, 90% sure, because everyone was coming out. All the big trades, are all the bloggers, they were saying something big is about to happen. So it was in the back of my head. And I've said this a couple times. The biggest surprise for me was when Henry showed up. And you even told me, yes, you told me a couple days before. You said you're hearing that Henry's going to be there, but still, you just don't know.
Yeah,
and then
true.
like the way that he came in was so epic because the movie wasn't even finished yet. So it's at the very end of the movie, and then all of a sudden Henry pops up, and that's when I really freaked out. That's when my wife's like, "What's going on?" I was like, "Oh my god!" But yeah, when he officially like at the very end, he was messing with us. He was like acting like he can't do anything. He can't release it. It's up to them. And he was playing games again. I was starting to get worried. I was like, everyone thinks it's about to be announced right here, and now you want to sit here and play games with us. But then he turns the screen around, and you see that there it is, HBO Max 2021, and it felt so good. It was a day that I'll never forget. Like, it's just we pushed so hard and worked so hard for 2 or 3 years, and just in that moment, it just all paid off for us, and it was amazing.
What about you, Mr. Big Mouth?
When I first heard the rumors, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. When I first heard the rumors, I didn't believe it. I didn't believe it at all. And then when we had the Man of Steel stream, I was just like waiting and waiting. I just wanted the film to end, right? And then all of a sudden, Henry turned up, and I thought, they're gonna do it. They're gonna do it. And then Zack winding us up. I was getting, it's not gonna happen. And then he announced it, and I just couldn't believe it. I totally lost it. I've been watching films since I was a small boy, and I've never seen the likes of this in my life.
Yes. And you know what? It's funny, Mick, because as soon as it happened, the first thing I thought about was you breaking that DVD in half. I wanted that done so bad.
Yeah.
It had to be broken.
And for the
yep.
It was
yeah. And for the people that this was the exact wording that I sent to Tyler on the day before on Tuesday, on June 19th. I sent it to him at 4:32. It says, from my source, word on the street is that Henry Cavill will be joining Zack to announce his Man of Steel 2, along with Zack Snyder announcing his Snyder cut. That's what was sent now. Obvious Man of Steel. Obvious Henry didn't make his announcement, and I asked my source, what's going on there, and basically what she told me is that they didn't want to overshadow or take the spotlight away from Zack. And then as soon as Zack Snyder made that announcement, then you saw the trades, the bloggers already stating that Henry Cavill will be coming back. So it looks like it was, there it goes right there. Yeah. So and I got a lot of flack from Lightcast there, and I didn't even know who they were. They said I got it from them. Like, oh, okay, I don't know their timeline, but okay, whatever. So, but from that point forward, we see now the direction that the DCEU is going, and I think it really started. And it was masterfully done by Warner Brothers, by the way. It really started where Ezra Miller appeared on CW's Crisis on Earth with the other Flash. I forgot, what the actor name. But once they did that, they basically are telling us that there's a multiverse. You're gonna have a couple of Batmans. You're gonna have a couple of Superman, which basically they played it safe. Now, why is that important? Because there are people out there that don't like Zack Snyder movie, and it's fine. It's okay. Zack Snyder is not for everybody. It's fine. It's okay. But now there's option now. I described it. When I went on the round table on Zod's Rider show, I described it as going to a restaurant. There's a buffet. You have a choice what to eat. You have a choice. What to choose from. So it allows Warner Brothers to play safe and allow us fans, those that don't like Zack Snyder but maybe could relate to Matt Reeves' Batman, more power to you. us that likes both Batman, Matt Reeves, and Ben Affleck, it allowed us to watch both, and it allowed us people that don't like Matt Reeves, that only like Ben Affleck's Batman, it allows them to watch it. So I think it was very smart for Warner Brothers to do that. What do you think, Tyler?
No, I completely agree. They opening up the multiverse or using that, putting that out there, that's so smart for them because now any movie they can just say that, because the big thing with movie continuity was everything being canon. So now with the multiverse is they can just say it doesn't have to be canon because it can just be a part of another universe.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they want to, they could somehow have the Flash involved and bring that. If I always use this example, but you could say Robert Pattinson's Batman is now the new Batman for the DCEU because let's say Ben Affleck's Batman dies and they want a replacement, they could easily say, oh, well, we got him from this universe. You know what I mean? Like they can play around with so much now that it was the smartest move for them to put Ezra Miller in the Flash show, CW Flash, so they could use that wild card. And they've been sitting on it for so many years now, and now it's official. They're going all in with the multiverse, and the timing of it was absolutely perfect.
And what about you, Mr. Big Mouth?
Well, the multiverse is coming, that's for sure. I believe they're even going to cast another Superman. It's a massive thing that's been in the planning for nearly 2 years by Walter Hamada. And this is beyond the DCEU. It's bigger than the DCEU. This is going to be multi-Earths, new actors, new creatives. It's a very exciting thing, and I love the DCEU. I love Zack, what he's done. But I'm also a DC fan, and I want to see other versions, and I want to see crossovers as well. And fans want to see crossovers as well. This has to become a mainstream thing for some of the fans, but if you're a DCEU fan, you can still watch this. So it's so exciting. There's something for everyone, and I can't wait. I don't know about you two.
Oh yeah, it's going to be absolutely amazing. Like the future, the DCEU is back. The original slate is back. I mean, it is a hell of a time to be a DC fan. And you know what? We wanted, in the beginning, we just wanted Zack's 214-minute cut. And now we're not just getting that. We're getting more. We're getting a 4 or 5 hour epic masterpiece. So it's even better now.
It is so refreshing that that now they're listening to the fans. They're listeners, and them open up the multiverse. It opens up a lot of possibility. Can you imagine when Warner Brothers decide to close this out and start fresh and reboot, that the last episode we could get Injustice, where we could have Christian Bale Batman go against Ben Affleck Batman, where we could have two different Superman going against two different Supermans. I mean, the possibility is just, oh my gosh. We could have the original Supergirl from '84 going up to the new Supergirl, which I'm hoping is guys. I want you, Big Mouth and Tyler, please look up Tessa Bohan Jones. She's credited on Justice League. And Zack Snyder has a history of casting unknown actors, and she looks like a Supergirl. I've tried to reach out to her. Huh?
What's her name again?
Tessa, Tessa, B-O. Okay, hold on. Let me see. Tessa.
Oh, okay.
Tessa. I think B-O-N. As in Nancy, H-A-M Jones.
Okay, let's see. Oh, she's in the movie, huh?
Yeah, she's in. And I know Chris Wong. He did a big thing on 2017, right before Justice League was released. But look at her. She looks like a Supergirl. She looks like Kara. And if Supergirl is, which I got word that she is in Justice League, that she's gonna be she's in the history lesson. That's what that's her. You see, that's her. Doesn't she look like a Supergirl? She is. I mean, she's beautiful. Oh, yeah. She has the blue eyes. I mean, I've tried reaching out to her you know, in every way. I try to reach out to, you know, to DMs, you know, to Twitter. She has not responded back, but I'm gonna keep on. And or maybe she sees it and she knows that she can't say anything, so she's going to ignore that. Who knows? I don't know. But to me, you know, she's in there. So what do you guys think about her?
Well, Lewis,
I think Supergirl's in Justice League, definitely.
yeah.
I think it's in my mind for a long time.
So Lewis, this is very interesting. Is I'm on her IMDb right now, and when you look at Justice League for her, it says young girl uncredited. So that means that she'll probably be in Zack Snyder's movie. She wasn't in the Justice League movie.
Yes.
But then she also plays. She's going to be in the new Wonder Woman movie, 1984. She plays a character named Lucy. So that's interesting.
If that's the case, then obviously she's not Supergirl. Because if she's gonna play, I mean, if they're gonna be connected, but we don't.
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know, but that's. I think. I mean, I'm hoping it's her though. I mean, she plays the part. Go ahead, Big Mouth.
I mean, maybe she's called Lucy in Wonder Woman 84, but maybe that's just a name she's given herself.
That's true too. You never, and you could have a crossover with Wonder Woman 84 with Supergirl. You just don't know. But I'm hoping it's her. I mean, guys, check this out.
Yeah. She looks.
She looks the part.
Like
Go to her Twitter page. Go to her, and I think she's based out of England. I think. Are you from England, Big Mouth?
I'm not in England now, but I originate from England. Yes.
Right. I think she's from. I think she's British. I think she's British. Let me check that out. I mean, guys, this is why it's so fun now to be a DCEU fan, because we could discuss, rumors or what we think, try to guessing, what we want. We could, it's the possibilities, and although I don't have a tinfoil hat, but obviously, this is it's fun. It's fun to talk about this. Let me go to her page.
Well, speaking of Supergirl, my favorite theory right now is that she's under the control of Darkseid in the Snyder Cut.
Yes.
Here's what I think. I actually think in the history lesson that she beats Darkseid, but Darkseid basically made her forget who she was, and she's on Earth working around, not knowing who she is. That's what I think. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think because if she's like Superman, what she is, only kryptonite could deceive her. So the only power that Darkseid could have is maybe controlling the mind. I don't think he's going to control the mind, because if he could control Supergirl's mind, then obviously Supergirl's going to go against Superman in Justice League. So I don't think that's going to happen. I just think that she beats Darkseid along with the Green Lanterns in the history lesson, and she's her, or not even her, but maybe Darkseid did something with her memory. She forgot who she is, and she's been living on Earth ever since, not knowing who she is, or trying to figure out, something like Jason Bourne. How Jason Bourne, knew he was something special, but was trying to remember something like that. I think that's probably happened. Now, I don't think Darkseid controls her mind, but I think he does something to her mentally to forget who she is. That's what I think. What do you think?
Imagine them defeating Steppenwolf, and Wonder Woman cuts off Steppenwolf's head, and then it rolls to Darkseid's foot, and then he sends Supergirl after Man of Steel. Woo! And then those two just go after each other.
yeah, that definitely could could work. What do you guys think about the Batman thing that I put out? Tyler, I think I sent you the information. So I was a little bit more detailed on what I heard. So obviously, I can't, I'm at a point in my life right now that I don't want to be arguing with everybody. Try to discredit me and so forth. So what I usually do now is that when I hear something, I send to a few people. So just in case it happens, I have those people that say, no. Lewis heard this. Here's the date. Bye, 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 bye. But but I gave everybody a clue that you need to subscribe to HBO Max, which a lot of people are, and Justice League needs to do well, which I know it is. If that happens, we're gonna get Ben Affleck's Batman. Who would you like to see as far as directing that? Anybody other than Zack Snyder? Who would you like to see directing that Batman versus Deathstroke? I'm gonna start with you, Big Mouth.
Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck can act and direct in that film. That's what he was originally going to do. There's no reason why he can't do that. Ben Affleck is one of the maybe top 30 directors in Hollywood. He wanted to do it, and he didn't step down because of the alcoholism. That is nonsense. He stepped down because they pushed him away, and the alcoholism, like what they said, the reason for Zack stepping down was, which it's all BS. They use people's weaknesses. That's what Warner Brothers did, and it was disgusting. I don't want to go off on, I don't want to upset people, but we get a bit upset about the situation. But Ben Affleck could absolutely write, direct, and act in his Batman.
What do you think, Tyler?
I think exactly what Big Mouth said. I think Ben, that if you can't have Zack Snyder, and I don't think he will do it because his hands will be full with the next two movies. I think your best bet is Ben Affleck. I mean, the guy. It's a dream role for him. He absolutely loves this character. And you heard Jay Oliva said that it was one of the best scripts he's ever seen. So Ben has an idea, and I think he would execute it very well. So if you can't have Zack, I think Ben's the way to go.
Here's what I am hoping for. And the only reason I don't want Ben to direct the Batman is not because he can't do it. I just don't want him to have all that kind of pressure of him doing the Batman and directing. He's probably maybe producing or co-directing. But the one guy that I would love to see direct the Batman, or Ben Affleck's Batman, is the man who said is the best Batman script he ever seen, Jay Oliva. That's who I would like. That's who I would like to. Obviously I deal with Zack Snyder, but I don't. I think Zack Snyder is going to be just a Justice League 2-3 director with a small chance of maybe the Superman or Man of Steel 2. But as far as Ben Affleck, Jay Oliva, I mean, I would love to see him direct because he did the Dark Knight Returns. He understands the role of Ben Affleck Batman. I mean, he was a storyboard for Zack Snyder, Man of Steel, and not Man of Steel, but Batman vs Superman and Justice League. So he knows. And not only that, but Warner Brothers, you don't have to pay him the way you would pay a Ben Affleck to direct a movie. You don't have to pay Jay Oliva the kind of money that you would pay a Christopher Nolan or a Zack Snyder. You could let. I'm just talking about being smart business moves. So I would like it to see Jay Oliva direct the Batman versus Deathstroke. What do you guys think about that idea?
I like that idea. I mean, I never even thought about that, honestly. But he's never directed an actual live action movie, has he?
No, he has not. But this is where having a great producer comes in. Obviously, would be Ben Affleck, Zack Snyder to help produce. Executive producer will be Christopher Nolan. And here's the thing. He knows he's been around Zack Snyder. He knows. If you're a snowboard, it's like being an assistant coach of a basketball team that's never been a head coach. But if you have a great coach or you worked under a great coach, you're gonna see the ins and outs what they do, and I think that that could transfer to being a good director. So that's just me. Now, obviously, the ideal director would be Ben Affleck himself, obvious, or Zack Snyder. I mean that's the perfect one. But I just more, I'm thinking more like as far as financial reasons. If you could have one, you could save a little bit of money on the director that knows basically Zack's vision, and Zack Snyder is still going to be on a project to be a producer to help out Jay Oliva. And we know that Jay Oliva's been faithful, and I know Zack Snyder will do everything he can to make Jay Oliva successful. That's just me. So that's just me. Now, as far as again, for those that I'm not a person that I'm gonna go and research other people, but last year in, I want to say October or September, October, nobody was talking about Zack Snyder Justice League being on HBO Max. I did a show with Eric Blake, and I pleaded with them. I say, hey, be different from Marvel. Put it on HBO Max. Make a mini series on it. So to me, it would be so awesome. Let's take the Ben Affleck Batman. You put that on big screen. Ben Affleck's Batman big screen, and if you want to expand on that, then you could transfer that miniseries into HBO Max. You say you get the best of both worlds. I hope that's the route it goes, because I want Rotten Tomatoes out of this. I want them out of this because not all, but when you have biased people that don't like Zack Snyder, that hates DCEU, I mean, it's just that's what I'm hoping. What do you think, Tyler?
As far as Ben's show being on HBO Max,
yeah,
or I think it's a great idea. And here's the thing: is that the tides have changed. Mm-hmm. No longer, again, WB they messed up. They let Zack do Man of Steel, and then they let him do BVS, and at BVS that's when they really started listening to the critics and the bloggers. And I've been saying this for a while now, that if you take the critics and the bloggers and compare them to the general audience, they were such a small percent. So when the critics and bloggers come out and they say this movie's horrible, but yet the general audience loves it, WB started looking at the blog, like I said, the bloggers and the critics, and they went with them for a little bit, and they screwed themselves. They tried to go that Marvel route, if you will, and then it didn't really work for them. Now, I think they're saying, you know what? Let's completely listen. Well, now it's AT&T and HBO Max. Let's completely listen to the fans. And the critics don't matter anymore, because when it's on a streaming service, they're not looking at that. So they can say that Zack's movie is absolutely trash and absolutely horrible, but when HBO Max, they look at the numbers of the subscribers and how much money they made off of people coming to watch this movie, and they see how many hours and hours and hours people have watched this movie, they're going to go, okay, we're going to give Zack a sequel now, because we don't care if people don't like it. Obviously, a lot of people like it because we just got a lot of money from them. So it's at a point now where the tides, like I said, the tides have turned. It doesn't matter anymore if the critics have something to say, because now they are listening to the fans, which they should have been doing from day one. So,
right. And what do you think, Big Mouth?
There's a big difference between streaming and cinema, movie theaters, as you say in America. You see, on streaming, you don't need a $2 billion tape, because, as they've already said on HBO Max, Zack Snyder's Justice League is already making them bundles of money, not just on subscribers, but on sponsorship. So HBO Max doesn't care what Grace Randolph thinks of Zack Snyder's Justice League. She's irrelevant. Streaming has made critics and pundits irrelevant. They don't matter anymore. Their power has gone. Rotten Tomatoes is irrelevant. It's like us talking in a room on our own. It doesn't matter. The future is streaming. For me, cinema's dead. Future is VOD, as far as I'm concerned. And I think this is brilliant to have the Batman on HBO Max and David Ayer's Suicide Squad. We don't know what's going on with that either right now. I believe it's going to happen. I don't think Zack would have done this deal without making sure that David Ayer was taken care of. And let's not forget, David Ayer's Suicide Squad, which a lot of people are forgetting, is part of Zack's vision. And without that missing component of David's movie, we don't have the full vision. And that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, and just to go off that, as far as how Mick just said that the cinemas are dead and it's all about streaming service now. This movie, a movie of this size, a Justice League DC movie, one of the biggest IPs in the world, is going to debut on a streaming service. This is one of the biggest movies of all time, debuting on a streaming service. And again, I hate to do this, but I always go to Marvel, I always go to DC or Disney. Imagine the Avengers Endgame, whatever, Infinity War, debuting on Disney Plus. Think about that. Think about how many subscribers, how many people are going to watch that thing over and over and over again. This is happening with Zack's Justice League on HBO Max. First time ever. What other movie can you name that is even close to the size of this scale that debuted on a streaming service? You can't think of any because it hasn't happened yet. Zack's movie will be the first, and it's going. It changes everything. It changes the game completely.
Right. It does. And now, you know, like I've been clamoring since last year. Last year, when I first did my show, I've been clamoring to eliminate Rotten Tomatoes. And if you want to keep Rotten Tomatoes, well then, if you're the directors, you know what you do is you say Rotten Tomatoes, you cannot release your score 1 month after my movie is released. You know, do something like that. And if they don't want to do it, they just take it to the streaming service. You know, okay, you don't want to do that. You know, I got HBO Max. You know, even if Warner Brothers, you know, and let's say Warner Brothers and Patty Jenkins decide to put it on the HBO Max, can you imagine the subscription will go even more higher? So, but you know, I understand from Patty Jenkins' standpoint why she wouldn't want to do that, because she has a lot invested in her. So I don't blame her on that. And Wonder Woman #1 did so well that I don't think she's going to care, you know, what the critic says, because ultimately right now what this proves is, and kudos to Ansonoff, kudos to her, kudos to J.J. Abrams, kudos to HBO Max for finally listening to your consumer. I mean, no business cannot survive if they don't listen to the consumer. I mean, it's just smart business. Now, I would understand if it didn't make financial sense. I understand that. But when you have a consumer clamoring and asking to release a movie that is going to make you money, you know, thank God that they finally listened to the consumers. So, and it teaches them going forward, you know, it don't matter, because ultimately, you know, what do you want? You want good review like Shazam but not do well in the box office? Or would you want or you want critics? And I'm not saying I didn't like Shazam. I mean, I think Shazam was okay because it's a family movie. I'm not trying to, you know, bash that movie. But the point is that would you rather have a movie that has good reviews but don't make any money, or you rather have a movie that is controversial, that is basically 50-50 down, you know, split, but you're making money? It's about making money. You know, it's about making money. And you know, and with Zack Snyder, you know, there is no in between. You either like him or you don't like him. So it took, actually, I remember when I first saw Man of Steel the first time, I didn't know how I felt about him killing Zod. Honestly, I didn't. And it was not that he kills God. It was the way that he kills God. Because obviously, if you watch Superman 1 and actually Superman 2 with Christopher Reeve, we know that Superman kills Zod by throwing him off the cliff. So we know that. So I didn't have a problem as far as killing Zod. Is just what caught me off guard is just the way he did it. But when I watched it the second time, when I watched it the third time, and I put myself in his shoes. What do you want Superman to do? He threatened to kill the civilians. There was only one way to do it. God had no intention not to do it. He told them, hey, he's either them or me. And Superman's pleaded with him, stop. He had no other choice to do it. So then it makes sense to me. And then, you know, and then obviously, you know, the Batman versus Superman, the theatrical version was a good movie. But when I saw the ultimate cut, which is by far way better than the theatrical cut, then I started to warm up to Zack Snyder, because I honestly I didn't like The Watchmen, but then I started to see like, wow, you know, now I know where Zack Snyder is going with this, and I like it.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, basically, going back to the skill point where the breaking of Zod's neck, when I was in the cinema, the literal oxygen was taken out of the cinema by everyone taking a deep breath when that happened. And I'll tell you someone else who wasn't too sure about that situation. Christopher Nolan questioned David Goyer about it because everyone keeps on saying, Zack Snyder, why did Zack Snyder make Superman do that? Nothing to do with it. Zack didn't have story responsibilities in Man of Steel. That was totally on David Goyer. Man of Steel was David Goyer's idea, it was his concept, and everyone blamed or credit Zack for what happened in that movie. But actually, give poor David Goyer some credit here, right? He had the vision, he had the idea, and he came up with it. And I think it's a compelling ending, and I don't mind Superman killing, quite frankly. And because I know Superman because of live action Superman 2, except for Smallville, big Smallville fan. But I don't mind Superman killing if it's for a good reason. And we don't really know what's going on with Superman in Man of Steel until we see Justice League 2, Justice League 3. We don't know what's going on with the Codex. We don't know what influence the Codex has on them. We don't know if the Codex has been corrupted by Darkseid. Anything's possible right now. So we've got to give the storytellers a chance to tell their story rather than what happens on Twitter. We jump on things as soon as we hear on it. Oh my God, it's just to be patient. But I love Man of Steel. I think it is the best. I think it's the best Superman movie, the best superhero movie ever made, because it's actually great for mainstream audiences because of the action, because of the visuals, but there's such a deeper commentary, like with the world engine, changing the atmosphere. That's what we're trying to do on other planets. It's amazing. It's an amazing film. I can talk about it for hours. Brilliant.
Yep. That scene at the end where he kills Zod, that's the moment that Superman chooses humanity over his own race. So that was a pivotal scene. It wasn't just him killing. It was the fact that he was officially, becoming a part of, I guess, the human race, if you will. But to go back on the whole thing with Zack, with what you were saying, Lewis, about how you either want a movie you want the critics to love it and make no money, or do you want to make a movie, or you want to have a movie that makes a lot of money but critics don't like it? Obviously, you want to make a movie that makes the most money. I mean, a win-win would be the critics love it and you make a bunch of money, but that doesn't always happen. But at the end of the day, a lot of people say this about Zack, and they're always misinformed, is they always think that Zack's movies didn't make any money. Zack's movies made a bunch of money. All of his movies were pretty much financially, they were golden. So you can't say that he did not make money. He was just a very controversial director. I don't, I see why people say that, but I don't see it. But I mean, that's probably because he's one of my favorite directors of all time. So at the end of the day, his movies always made you money. So it makes a lot of sense to get him back. I mean, if his movies were controversial and made no money at all, then it would be like, no, we're not getting him back. That's just a no-brainer. But it's not. His movies always made money, and I believe they will continue to make you money. So, yeah. Yeah,
I mean, and not only that, but remember when the MCU first started out, it started with the Incredible Hulk. It didn't. I mean, it did. I actually liked the Incredible Hulk with Ed Norton. I mean, I personally liked it.
I like it too.
It did okay financially. Then Iron Man did okay. It took him a good 4 or 5. Even Captain America did okay. Even Christopher Nolan, Batman's Begin, made about $600 million. So the more you let the directors tell the story, it's gonna do better box-wise. So, I mean, if you look at Man of Steel, it made about $680 million. Then you look at Batman vs Superman, it made about $880 million. And I'm one of the many that believes that if the Ultimate Edition would have been released in theaters, it probably would have hit $1 billion.
No doubt.
But if you look at Christopher Nolan, Batman Begins, it made about $680, $90 million. And then The Dark Knight made over $1 billion. And obviously The Dark Knight Rise made over $1 billion. If Warner Brothers would have stuck by Zack, and let him finish his arc, it would have cracked $1 billion. It would have. So that's, to me, that's that's the problem when you don't have leadership in the top, and you have, everyone wanted to be a CEO. Jeff John wanted to be a CEO. Kevin T obviously was the CEO. Then you had Tommy Emmer. When you have few people trying to make a decision, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. So right now, the way Warner Brothers is structured right now, well, actually, it's AT&T and HBO Max, Warner Media. But now they have a good structure right now. They really do, man. So, but where would you like the DCEU to be out going forward?
Well, I just want to go back on your point real quick, Lewis, about the financials and everything. I actually did a video on this, and I compared the first 4 or 5 Marvel movies to the first 4 or 5 DCEU movies financially. And DC, at that point in the game, they were beating Marvel by like $800 million. And the way that, like you said, Marvel, it takes time. It takes time for you get to fall in love with these characters and get to know them. And then eventually it builds up, it builds up, it builds up. You make more and more money. So the same thing was happening with DC, is that in BVS, everyone says that movie should have made $1 billion easy. And like you said, the Ultimate Edition, yes, I highly believe it would have made $1 billion. But the thing is that was the first time they were seeing Ben Affleck's Batman. Okay. If you go back to like pretty much all the Marvel movies and all the DC movies, is that the first time you see that character on screen, none of those movies made $1 billion. None of them origin stories made $1 billion, with the exception of Captain Marvel, but that was just in a perfect placement. And you see Aquaman. Everyone loved Aquaman from Justice League, so that's why it made $1 billion. Same thing with every Marvel movie. Is that what I'm trying to say is that no movie from the get-go makes $1 billion. You see a character, you like that character, and then you see him in the sequel, then it makes $1 billion. Then the third movie makes $1 billion. You have to work up to that. So the fact that, Superman and Batman were in this movie, it should have easily made $1 billion. Well, that was the first time we were seeing Ben Affleck's Batman. And then guess what? A lot of people fell in love with that Batman. And the third movie, the Justice League movie, I highly believe would have easily made $1 billion. And then the next movie would have made $1 billion. You know what I mean? So it takes time. It doesn't just happen overnight. You don't just come out with a new movie and people all of a sudden it just makes all this. Sometimes it does, but it builds up to that, and that's what Marvel was doing, and that's why it got to a point with Marvel where almost everything they were coming out with was making over $1 billion, because they built their cinematic universe, and DC was doing that. You had to give it time, but they did not. So I just wanted to put that out there.
All right. And what about you, Big Mouth?
Yeah, it seems like we've become so focused as fans about box office. It's become this competition between us and the MCU. And I think we're also focused on competing with the MCU. And I think Warner Brothers made this mistake as well. They were looking at what they were doing. So every time there was a bad reaction to a DCEU movie, but hang on a minute, everybody loves Marvel and everybody hates the DCEU. This is no good. What are we going to do? We're gonna jump Zack and do some crazy crap on his Justice League movie. But if they're just focused on the pieces of art, and if everyone was patient, us, the studio, by the time we got to the end of Justice League, it would have been more of a feel-good factor. Superman would be more of the Superman that everybody recognises from the comics. Zack was getting there. But the problem is we're so focused on box office now. It's crazy. I mean, do we make the money? No. Of course they have to make money. They have to be successful. I understand that. As Tyler said, they made good money. They made solid money, and and as you said, Lewis, when the MCU first started, they were, in fact, the Marvel fans weren't very happy with Feige at the beginning. Nobody remembers this, but I remember this. There was a lot of pressure on this guy, and actually, Kevin has said it himself. It was a mess at first, but because they were the first ones doing it, no one was focused on them. No one was pressurizing them. It's like I did a video today. It's crazy the hatred Zack Snyder gets. When you look at Quentin Tarantino, a unique individual director, everybody loves that guy. So why is it that Zack Snyder gets so much fun? Why do they hate him? You two, can you tell me why they hate him? It's insane.
Yeah,
don't know.
I don't get it. Now, what I would like to see in Aquaman 2, and I think there's a little storyboard out there where you have Superman and Batman appearing in Aquaman 2 on the storyboard. Won't that be something that you see Batman and Superman show up in Aquaman 2? I mean, you talk about if Ben Affleck does indeed come back, um, I mean, and if Ben Affleck first appearance is going to be Aquaman 2, I mean, to me, I think that would probably push it to $1.5 billion easily if
Oh,
that
yeah.
happens. What do you think, Tyler?
Oh, I completely agree with that. If the first movie already made $1 billion, I think critically it was probably, or I always go to Rotten Tomatoes, sorry, but I think critically Rotten Tomatoes, it was at like a 70%. So a lot of people enjoyed that movie. And then you take that and you add Batman and Superman into that. I think that's a no-brainer. But it made a lot of money in China, a lot of money. So I think, yeah, you add Batman and Superman, that's a no-brainer. 1.5 billion, I think, is easy.
1.5 billion.
And you, Big Mouth?
Oh, Batman and Superman in an Aquaman movie, that would be amazing, wouldn't it? I mean, take my money now. It would be. I mean, imagine having those three characters in the same film together. I mean, fighting together, whatever threat they're going to be going. I mean, it's probably there's more likelihood to Batman and Superman being in that film than Amber Heard right now, isn't there? So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But for me, I mean, I love Superman. He's my favourite character, and I can't believe this studio has rested him for 2 years. 2 years we've had no Superman in no movies. Now, as a business, how do you justify that?
I have no idea, to be honest. Now, I'm going to do something different because I want to engage with the people on the chat, and I'm going to ask you guys, the people in the chat, and the only reason I want to start off with Tony because Tony has sent me private emails to why he didn't want Zack Snyder to release, or why he didn't want the studio to release Zack Snyder because we don't like Zack Snyder's interpretation of Superman and Batman. So, Tony, this is for you. Now that we clearly see that Warner Brothers is going to go in a multiverse universe, if they bring a Superman that fits your vision, because remember, the directors doesn't have to fit our vision. It's how they interpret their Superman. I mean, you're no better than if you're a director and you interpret Superman how you want, but then have a problem of we liking Zack. So would you be for having more than one Superman, or you just want one Superman? That's for you, Tony. And then once he replied back, guys, just look at the chat. Once he replied back, then I'm going to give you guys a chance to reply back. Now, guys, this is not, he was very respectful. And like I said, Zack Snyder is not for everyone. It's not. It's not for everyone. So I don't, and I believe in his email, he said he liked it 300. But do you want one Superman, or are you okay having multi-Superman in the universe? So people like us that like Zack Snyder Superman could watch that, and then people, I think you're more of a Christopher Reeves type of Superman, which was great. Don't get me wrong. But what do you want, Tony? I see Zack Snyder, yeah, Batman vs. Superman was a victim of a critic's sabotage. Yes, it was. I mean, it's obvious. You don't. I mean, you have to be blind not to see that. Really, you have to be blind. So it really was. So while we wait for Tony a reply, Tyler, talk a little bit because when I bring my guests on, I always want people to know my guest. Who is your your DC favorite hero?
That's an easy question, Lewis. That's Batman. That, you know what? It really became apparent to me when I saw Batman Begins with Christopher Nolan when he directed it. I wasn't quite at the time, wasn't quite sure who my favorite, but then I saw that movie and I was just amazed by it because that was the first time I saw an actual origin story for Batman. I didn't know about the League of Shadows. I didn't know how it all started. As a kid, I just watched the animated series and stuff like that, and I just thought he was Batman. That's it. He just fought crime at night. But then that moment, that's when I learned about him and his backstory, and I was so completely amazed by it. And at that moment, that was just like, that's when it became my favorite superhero. Still is, and I believe will be my favorite superhero of all time.
And you, Big Mouth, who is your favorite DC character?
Yeah, it's got to be Superman. When I first saw Superman the movie as a kid, it was Superman. Amazing film. What they were able to do with that film was so amazing. No CGI. They did everything in the camera. It was such a beautiful accomplishment. And I know our fandom doesn't really appreciate Superman the movie as much as we should, because it's always, Superman the movie, which Man of Steel. No, they're both great Superman movies. They're both different. But what Richard Donner and Tom Mankiewicz, who wrote the picture, did was amazing. So because of that film, I fell in love with Superman. And then we got to Smallville, which is probably one of my favourite comic book TV shows of all time, because we see Superman as a young man going through this journey, and you've got Lex Luthor. Now, what an interpretation of Lex Luthor in Smallville. Just brilliant, because it was emotional. It was the trials of Clark Kent and Lex Luthor and all the other characters, and it earned its right to be a superhero show. So after Smallville, I was just so on the Superman bandwagon. Until Batman Begins I prefer Batman Begins to actually The Dark Knight, and I know that's not a popular thing to say, but I think Batman Begins has more Bale face time than The Dark Knight does. And that's the problem, because I think someone like Bale was overshadowed in The Dark Knight, and Bale is one of the greatest actors that's ever lived. And I just think in Batman Begins, he was so good, and so I love that film.
For me, obviously, I like the Christ-like symbolic why Superman is my favorite superhero. It's more. I'm a Christian, so if you look at the story of Christ, you look at the story of Superman, they have a lot of similarities. God the Father sent His only begotten Son to the world to save the world. Well, what did Joel do? Joel sent His only Son on earth so He could be a beacon of hope. So the religious part of it is why I love the character of Superman. He always does the right thing. So that's why I like that. Now on August 22nd. I'm going to be making this announcement later, but I'm working on something. I'm going to give you guys a clue. I'm going to have how can I put this? No, it's not Ben Affleck. I wish it was. Okay? It's not Ben Affleck. Oh Lord! But it's not Jason Momoa. Could be Gal Gadot. Nah, just kidding. Definitely not. But I'm going to. There's going to be coverage. Let's put it that way. I'm going to have. No, I wish Zack Snyder. Oh Lord, I wish. No. I think he's gonna be at the event, but I'm gonna have. We're gonna be put on the map. My show is gonna come basically. There's a chance that a TV station in Illinois may cover that day, and I invited 2 reporters who are a big Zack Snyder fan on my show. It looks like they're going to be coming on, and they're going to see if they can do something for me on my show, and also on the DC fandom. So I'm working with them. I think Zack Ryder may know them. because they're a reporter in Illinois. So I'm looking forward to having that. You never know. Maybe they could have access to one of the actors. I don't know. I'm hoping for that. But it's
Awesome.
Jeremy Irons. I wish it's not actors. Although I'm working, trust me, guys, I'm really working for the Frat Boy's mom, Ray Fisher. I'm working hard. But I have special plan for that day on August 22nd. My show's gonna be like how you have the Super Bowl show, and then you have the TV show, then you have the Super Bowl. But I want to be like these kind of go on before and get everybody ready for that event. So I'm looking for that. Now, are you guys into the MonsterVerse, Godzilla, King Kong? Are you guys into that?
I wouldn't say I'm necessarily like a huge fan, but I do like the Godzilla movies that have been coming out and the Kong movies. So I'm looking forward to it, but I'm not the biggest fan.
And what about you, Big Mouth?
I'm looking forward to Godzilla versus Kong. I'm not a big fan of either character. I did watch Peter Jackson's King Kong back in the day, which I love. That's a great epic movie. But yeah, I wouldn't say I'm an expert on those movies, but definitely Kong versus Godzilla. I mean, that's going to be epic, isn't it? And Junk XL's doing the score for it, isn't he? That's what I heard. So yes, I'll definitely be going to see, unless we don't go to see, unless it's on video on demand. Who knows? But yeah, I'll definitely be watching that movie. Yeah.
Right. So now, guys, we're gonna go into the to the questions. I see a lot of people engaging in the chat here. People have, and this is what makes this fun now, because everyone has their ideas where they want to see the DCEU go forward. I want the chat. I want you guys. Obviously, I think if we did a poll, I would say a good 95%. We want to see that Ben Affleck Deathstroke movie. But going forward, where do you want? How many movies, or where do you want DCEU to go going forward? We're gonna start with you, Tyler.
Where do I want the DCEU to go forward from here?
Yes.
Well, I just want the original slate to come back. Everything that we were promised, I want all that to happen. And again, as long as we show up, it looks like it's going to happen. I want to see Zack finish his arc. If that's going to be 2 or 3 movies, I want to see that finished. I want to see a Cyborg movie / series. I want to see Ben Affleck get his Batman movie / series. I want to see a Flash movie with Ezra Miller. I want to see Aquaman 2. I want to all that stuff. That's what I want to see in the future for the DCEU. And again, as long as we show up and we keep on showing our support and we subscribe to HBO Max, I highly believe it's going to happen. So.
And you, Big Mouth?
We're talking about the future of the DCEU, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, I think look, I think there's a really beautiful picture for the DCEU, the future. But I do think it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and I think the DCEU, as it's known, will be one corner of this multiverse. And I mean, I'd throw a question over to you. If you were Kevin Feige in Disney right now, how would you feel? Because all of a sudden, the announcement of Zack Snyder's Justice League has changed everything. I mean, since Endgame, the hype at MCU has just died a death. So all of a sudden, it's looking pretty good. And look at AT&T. AT&T are killing it, aren't they? So it's just amazing.
Right. As far as me, what I want, obviously, I want the Ben Affleck's Batman. We have Aquaman 2. We have Wonder Woman 84. We had the Flashpoint. And I want them to expand Green Lantern, Supergirl, other DC characters that hasn't, have his own movie. Cyborg, obviously, Cyborg is going to be, Justice League is going to be Cyborg centric, but other DC characters. Then you have Justice League 2, Justice League 3. Now, if I'm Zack Snyder, I wouldn't I would change maybe. Well, see, it all depends how the studio wants to go. Because if they told Zack, tell your story, but we don't want you to kill off Ben Affleck because we want to expand on that, and just leave the last movie, if they want to reboot, sort of like Endgame, to be Injustice. That's what I want, and everything with Injustice there. Then you could go forward. But that's a good 10-year period. And for everybody that's complaining about Ben Affleck age, those are 90. And I'm talking to you haters. You haters that are complaining about Ben Affleck age. You Marvel lovers are complaining about Ben Affleck age. Did you have a problem with Robert Downey Jr.? I mean, he's 57 now. Did you have a problem? See, this is the problem with Marvel fan. Well, I think Ben Affleck, I think he's too old. He's 46 years old. You got to get a young actor. You cannot have old actor. What about Robert Downey Jr.? He's 57. Oh, I think he's a great actor. I think Marvel did a great job casting a whole season actor. I mean, this is what drives me crazy. I mean, bunch of hypocrites. So I think you could do fine. You could leave it there. And that's what I want going forward. So any guys in the chat, you guys have any questions for Tyler, for Big Mouth, and for myself, and anyone has any questions?
Yeah, you got any questions for us?
Yeah, Injustice is crazy. Yes. I mean, that's never. To me, that has a potential. Now, obviously, I think the movie that probably could hit $4 billion. If you want to know the perfect movie that will hit $4 billion,
$4 billion,
$5 billion. I have
$5 billion.
I have the perfect movie that can easily make $5 billion. Read this.
Yeah.
DC versus Marvel.
Yes.
That can easily hit $5 billion.
It's gonna happen.
I mean, but other than that, the movies that I think, there's two movies that I think that could probably either come close to Endgame or break it. Number one is a Doomsday movie. Doomsday, a movie or Injustice. Injustice. I mean, more to me, Injustice. I think Endgame, and especially, argument's sake, a director that has, he's that kind of fan. We want to do that. But let's just say, we have anyone director that could do that. Number one, I think Christopher Nolan will be awesome. I mean, if you want to talk about a name that is highly respected from that's one, Ben Affleck. Oh my God! Oh my God! So to me, it's not me. It's not me. It's actually Big Mouth. We have a bad feedback. I put him on mute. See? So when I press mute, but I think what's going on with Big Mouth right now is that he has Lex Luthor probably playing with his mic, probably playing with his internet, since being that he thinks you're Lex Luthor because you're bald, and all that stuff. So I think that could be probably Lex Luthor playing with you. So if you see yourself on mute, it's because of that Big Mouth. But obviously I will unmute you once I bring you back. But to me, I think those, the perfect movie, the $5 billion movie is Marvel versus DC or DC versus Marvel. But I just don't know. But the movie that I think that has potential being Endgame is Injustice. What do you think, Tyler?
First off, the whole DC versus Marvel thing would be actually really cool. But two problems with that is, first off, it would be such a headache for them to figure out the financials of that. Who gets what. I mean, it should be a 50-50 split. But as far as an Injustice movie, I think an Injustice movie would be awesome. I think, although it kind of feels like Zack is kind of giving us that with his vision, if you look at it, because Superman could possibly in the second or third movie turn and go against them. And, again, with the multiverse and the Flash and everything. So I think to some degree, it kind of is an Injustice movie. But yeah, an Injustice movie would make a lot of money. I don't know how, because again, I think the general audience, they would look at that and it would be like, I don't know, I guess confused because they don't read the comics and they don't really know much about what's going on with these characters. And I think that's one of the problems they were thinking about they were going to have with the Flashpoint movie, was they were afraid to do it because I guess a lot of people, the general audience, they might be confused. They're like, what's going on? But yeah, that's as far as an Injustice movie, I think it would work. It would make a lot of money. I just don't know how much.
All right. And you Big Mouth.
Well, I think a DC versus Marvel movie would be amazing because just the potential. I think they better hurry up and do it before Robert Downey Jr. has to go in an old people's home or something. But it would be amazing. DC versus Marvel. I think they've hinted about it before. I've heard Faye speak about it. And I think it's something they, at some point, they definitely want to do. In terms of Injustice, those Injustice games are so popular. And I think that's the aesthetic that Zack Snyder went for in his vision, which is Injustice, which is a more goddish Batman, a more goddish Superman, a more goddish Aquaman as well. And then you've got Wonder Woman. So it's more of that kind of vision already. But an Injustice movie would be off the scale. And I mean, if you call it an Injustice movie, no one can complain that it's dark and brutal because everybody's coming in to see that thing. So I think Injustice movie would make a lot of money. I think DC versus Marvel would it would just capture the imagination because maybe unite the fans as well. I mean, I know it's asking a lot, but maybe if there was a DC versus Marvel movie, there wouldn't be so much hatred. So yeah, I mean, both things would really, really excite me as a comic book fan.
All right, and question from the Nikita show: what is your favorite DCEU scene? Oh wow. Boy, so many. I have a bunch of them, but honestly, although I'm a Superman fan, to me, the best DCEU scene has to be the warehouse scene with Batman. Yeah, I think because the reason why I like Ben Affleck Batman is because he's intimidating. He's tall, strong. Unlike Christian Bale, who played a great Batman, don't get me wrong, but he's not intimidating. Ben Affleck's Batman is intimidating, and the comics, the way the comics work is that Batman was intimidating. So to me, my favorite, and guys, I mean that's a close second to the Batman versus Superman when they both get up and look at each other for the first time. That's a close second because one day I think that's the best scene, and the other day I think the warehouse scene. Today I must have woke up in a bed that the warehouse scene is the best. So to me, that's back and forth. Either that one or when Batman versus Superman, they first get up, from Batman's car and they look at each other. That's it. To me, that's an iconic scene. What about you, Tyler? Tyler, what is your best DCU of now? Your Batman, I'm assuming, is the warehouse scene, no?
Lewis, I think you're right on. When I think about my favorite scene, I think so far within the DCU, it always seems to go back to the warehouse fight scene. It's just brutal. Again, Ben Affleck is the best Batman I've seen on screen so far. It's an amazing the choreography, just everything about that scene is incredible. But as far as a scene that emotionally takes a toll on me, the scene where in BVS where Superman dies and he's wrapped up in his cape, and Lois is like kneeling down next to him crying, and you have just that imagery of Batman and Wonder Woman standing over top of him. That's every time I see that scene to this day, it still hits me hard. Like it's that, I mean, there's so many scenes to pick from within that movie within the DCEU, and I just know that my favorite scene is probably like you said, the warehouse fight scene, but the one that every single time I see emotionally takes a lot out of me is the scene where Clark is laying on the ground dead.
Right. And you subject review, what is your favorite DCU scene?
You mean Mick?
Yes.
Mine, Man of Steel.
Man of
Man
Steel.
of Steel. Moment when he's fighting the World Engine, and he's about to go for it, and he's really struggling to fight the World Engine. And that beautiful music from Zimmer comes on, and at that moment, it makes me realise why I like Superman, why I love Superman. Why he's the greatest hero. He does everything with emotion. It's all Superman has heart. No one killed his parents. He's pure. He just wants to help. And at that moment, when he's going for it against the World Engine, I actually cry. I'm not lying. I literally have emotional tears. And Snyder Snyder understands Superman. People say he doesn't, but he does. At that moment, I totally love Superman.
Right. Well, okay. Tony asks how things are going with my daughter. Did she get her medication? What she actually needs is a device called Dexcom. Now, what is Dexcom? My daughter, she was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes back in April. It hit me hard. Obviously hit the whole house hard because we didn't expected it. And she's taking insulin. What makes it rare is that people who get diagnosed with type 1 diabetes usually means that their pancreas is working it's not working at all or very, very minimum. My daughter's pancreas is working at 90%. So it's producing insulin. What's happening is that the antibodies is eating the insulin. So that's what's wrong. So she's been on insulin. So what the doctor prescribed is a device called Dexcom, Dexcom. What is Dexcom? Dexcom is she puts in her stomach, and it takes her sugar like every 15, 20 minutes, and it predicts where her sugar is going to be at 15 minutes in advance. So if it tells her it's going to be low, then she gets to eat. Tell her that she's going to be high, and she walks and she drinks water. Why is the doctor doing that? Because he's trying to preserve her pancreas. He's saying that she's going to be there's a great chance that she's going to be full-blown insulin dependent within 10, 15 years. He said there's a small miracle chance that she may not be insulin dependent. So he's trying every way to get that treatment. Now that device is very expensive. Our deductible is $4,000. And we met about, I would say about 2,000. Now, why we need 4,000? Because 2,000 would take her to December. 2,000 will help pay for 2021. We're not worried about 22. So right now, what we're trying to do is get her to the end of the year of next year. So that's what's going on. And so we have to wait till July 1st. Because July 1st is where the new insurance kicked in. If we get it now, then the insurance starts over again in July. So that's why we're waiting for. But once July comes, hopefully we would have raised the money. Right now, and I want to thank Will Rollins for doing this for me. I really, really, really appreciate it. I know you, Subject Review, retweeted that. I know you, Big Mouth, also as well has retweeted that. I know a lot of people has Chris Wan, Karen, Bryson, Cyborg's mom, also retweeted that. Dave Pena also retweeted that. Mick D also retweeted that. So if you guys aren't able to give, just to retweet, keep retweeting it so more people could see it. And guys, no amount is small, whether it be $5 or $10 or whatever you can, everything is appreciated. But even if you're not unable to, the retweet gets to more people. So I sincerely want to thank everyone. I'm humble. When we raise the $4,000, I'm going to do a show with my family to thank everyone out there who did it. So you guys can see, put a face, to obviously my wife, the mom, and Jasmine, who you guys are doing this for. You have no idea how grateful I am. I'm not trying not to get too emotional. It's been a hard time, but thank God she has good care. Her doctor is telling her that she could live a normal life. She's in college. She's studying to be a nurse practitioner, and now she can make a difference in other people's lives as well. So I really, really thank you, Tony, for that question. So I'm gonna get off the topic because if I stay on the topic, I'm gonna get a little emotional, and I don't wanna. I don't want to keep you guys here too long, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up real soon. So my favorite scene is when Zod addresses the council. I will find him. Okay, that's a good woman. Wonder Woman entrance, the Trinity. That's a great. Yes,
Yeah.
that's definitely a great one. Kryptonian destruction. Ben Affleck just a brutal figure. Yes, he's like I said, he's very intimidating. This has come from Joe. I think this is your first time being here, Joe. Thank you so much. I see you have a headset. So if you have your own podcast show, hit me up, man. I definitely would like anyone in the chat who has their own podcast or own YouTube channel. Hit me up. I'll glad to have you on. If there's any females out there, I'm trying to reach out to females so I could get you guys aboard. If there's any minorities out there, I definitely want to get you aboard. Anyone. So, but if we made every Zack Snyder project huge, Warner Brothers will give him more projects to make. Joe, you want to hear my thing? I think it's already done. I think he got Justice League 2. I think he got Justice League 3. I think he already has that because the studios are not dumb. At least the new one, not the prior one. Prior one was dumb, but the new one, they know the potentials out there. So I think we're gonna get it. So I think it's gonna happen. Man, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Joe, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Yes. And now you know what, guys, too. Not once did she ever complain. I got a special kid. Not once she ever complained. Not once. So I thank you, Joe. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Akbar. Thank you so much. Zav Ryder, like always, man. Thank you so much. Thank you, Joe. I really appreciate it. Let's do it. That's right. Let's do it. All right. Hit me up soon. Absolutely. I'll go on your show. You come on mine. Absolutely. Let's get it rolling. Our happy things. Okay. I'll just leave it there. Only married people. Well, I shouldn't say married people, but okay. Sure, man. Much love from Egypt. Much love to you, my man. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Coach P. Here's a great question. Praying for your family, Lewis. Currently, as it stands, do you think Flashpoint will utilize Thomas and Martha? I actually do. And I actually think you might see Thomas Wayne as Batman.
Whew.
I mean, that's what I think. That's my theory. Well, I'm gonna start off with Big Mouth. What do you think? Oh, no. Did I lose him? Oh, there he goes. All right, there he goes. Okay, so what?
Yeah, definitely Flashpoint, because the original idea, of course, of Flashpoint was Thomas and Martha Wayne. And Thomas Wayne becoming Batman. We've seen the animated movie, haven't we? Which is awesome. And I think that was the original plan. And I think they're going back to the original plan now. So I expect to see, I forgot the actor's name, but yeah, I expect to see him as Thomas Wayne. And I think we probably may even see Grant Gustin in that Flash movie. We've seen them cross over already. I think we're going to get a very special movie from Andy Muschietti, and I'm so excited. I really am.
And you, Tyler?
If they do a Flashpoint movie and it's legit, it's just like the comic book and the animated movie, then yeah, we're gonna get a Thomas Wayne Batman. That's a no doubt. I think it was in the plans from the beginning, from the
It was.
the 2000,
Yes, it was.
exactly, from the 2016 slate.
Mm.
And also, I know that the guy who plays his father is Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I know that last year at some time he tweeted out talking about how in the future he's going to be wearing a mask again, or he's going to be doing work, with a mask again. And everyone was like, "What's that for? What's that for?" Now, some people have been speculating that he was going to be in the show The Boys, and that's why he would be wearing a mask again. But if this stands and they do a Flashpoint movie, obviously he's the father, he's Thomas Wayne, so he would be playing Batman. And again, if they go full Flashpoint, then yes, he will be Batman, and it'll be truly an epic. I mean, just the stuff that they're giving us is just incredible, and I couldn't ask for anything less or anything more.
All right, guys. So thank you so much for really joining me. I'm not thank you, DC Extended. I really appreciate your prayer. Joe, I'm not in, I don't even know. I'm not a tech savvy what the ratio 1.6. I don't even know what that means. All I just care about is that I'm getting Zack Snyder Justice League. So guys, thank you so much for really for joining me. I really appreciate you guys. Next week I'm gonna have Mr. Fowler on the show with us, who is campaigning to be the Riddler. So that's definitely gonna be fun. So guys, I want to thank you so much. Guys, please do me a favor. Share the GoFundMe page again. Any amount that you guys could give, much appreciated. Please subscribe to my channel. Obviously, please subscribe to Tyler's channel. We're here to support each other, the DCEU family. Also, subscribe, Mr. Big Mouth. That's a perfect name for him, Big Mouth. So I really appreciate you guys, man. So, guys, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for joining the Louis Centeno show, and I'm gonna make that announcement real soon for on August 22nd. All right, guys.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. See you guys.